Welcome back to the farm for another project. This is your first time, I hope you enjoy. So I've been seeing a lot of videos, a lot of guys are like scrap wood projects, let's build something from scrap wood. And then you see them bust out some purple heart and padauk and all these rare black walnut, all these crazy expensive rare woods. Let me go show you what my scrap wood pile is, and let's go build the average working guy's scrap wood project. So let's go check out the pile and see what we can come up with. Now here's my scrap wood pile. This is also the burn pile we use for our farm. So we've got all the trimmings from the gardens, the trees, everything kind of gets thrown in here. All my scrap wood from all my projects. And at the end of the season, when they lift the burn ban, we'll actually come down here and we'll light this and we'll have a big bonfire and we'll have all of our friends come over and we have a barbecue. So it just kind of makes it kind of nice. Everything just kind of sits down here. But you can kind of look through this pile. I've got pallet wood, pieces of cedar, some pieces of small cedar pickets, just a whole bunch of little miscellaneous scraps. So I'm going to dig through here, see what we can find some stuff, and then we're going to head into the shop. And then I'm going to show you one of the things that I made this summer that I couldn't keep up with when I was making them, and they're called Chicknic tables. So let's dig through some scraps and head in the shop and let's go build some stuff. So here's I was able to kind of dig through there and pick up a bunch of stuff. I got a whole bunch of little oddball 2x2 scraps of cedar. I got a couple of big pieces of 4x4 rough cut cedars, got some chunks missing out of it. I got a couple small pieces of these 2x4s, whole bunch of little 1x kind of miscellaneous stuff. So now I'm just gonna go through this and knock out the cut list. So luckily, earlier on in the year when I made a whole bunch of these, I put together a little cut list so I know exactly what I'm gonna need. So I'm going to go through and rip a whole bunch of this stuff down and show you how I put together one of these picnic tables. But I'm going to spare you the time of me on the table saw, because it's going to take me, I don't know, probably an hour. And I'm going to break down this entire pile and we'll just see how many of these Chicknic tables we can make. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so to put this whole thing together, we're going to use some waterproof wood glue. We're going to just use these little finish nails. We're going to use a couple different sizes. We've got 1 1/4 inch for the main part of the frame, and then I just got these little 3/4 inch, which will build the upper part of it. We got 3 little popsicle sticks, and the popsicle sticks will make sense here in just a second. You don't have to use popsicle sticks, just what I happen to have. So what we have here on the cut list, we got 4 legs. These are all going to be identical. We've got these 2 cross member supports. We've got 10 of the 1x2s cut out of pickets, and we have 4 1x2s also cut out of the pickets. And I'll put all the dimensions for all this stuff down in the cut list, which will be down in the description. Now, the cut list kind of fits the size of my scraps. You can kind of alter it or change it to what you need. This is really just kind of the dimensions I'm using from my cut list. I just took the overall and just kind of manipulated it to make it fit with the size of scraps that I had to keep my cutting at a minimum. So the first thing we're going to do, build the upper tray. So for the upper tray, we're going to need 4 of the long 1x2s and all 4 of the smaller 1x2s. We're going to want to put our smaller 3/4 inch finish nails in our gun. And now this is where our little toothpicks come in handy. So essentially all we're going to do is we're going to take these boards here and we're going to line these up at the edge of my table. That's what I use to kind of keep it square. But because these Chicknic tables are going to be outside, and we live in the Pacific Northwest where we get a little bit of rain. So we want to be able to let that rain drain out of it, but we don't want the gap so big that whatever treats and stuff you put in here just falls right on the ground. So you take your popsicle sticks and drop those right in the middle of each one of these slats, just like so. And again, just make sure you're all lined up here on the end. So now that we have this, now we're going to take one of these slats, we're going to lay it down here, and we're going to put one towards the far end and we'll put another one towards this other end. But we're going to use each of these boards is going to be our measuring, right? So we're going to take that and put it flush with the end. So the next one will go right on the inside. So hopefully that makes sense. You have one all the way out on the border and another one on the inside. So that's going to give us a 2-inch gap from the end. Make sure everything's together nice and tight. You want about equal spacing on the overhang, which will make sense here in a minute. So once you kind of have it lined out where you're going to go, now I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to put a dab of glue on each one of these. Now I'm just going to take that board, we're going to slide it right in here at the end, give it just a little bit of pressure. All right, now we're going to take that, flip it around. Same thing on the other side. Make sure your popsicle sticks stay in there. All right, so now you have the base of your tray, and you're gonna have these little overhangs on both sides, which again, is gonna make sense here in just a second. So now we're gonna take 2 more of our long pickets here, the longer ones we had from before, and those are gonna sit right on the edge like that. So they're gonna have a little shoulder on each end. So what we're gonna do now, same thing, we're gonna take a little dab of glue. We're gonna run that glue down here on the very edge of each of these. Then we'll run just a little bit of it right down the front of this side strip here. Just like so on both sides. Now, do you need the glue? Probably not, but I like my customers to know that if anybody's buying something, you're spending something, I did go the extra mile. I just didn't throw something together and it's just going to fall apart. So if you want to keep customers coming back, you want to make sure you're doing things right the first time. You sell somebody something and after a couple of weeks it falls apart, they're probably not going to buy anything from you again. Okay, so now we're going to take these, line these right back up. And since we know these are going to sit right down here, just going to get a couple of nails in the bottom. Just like so. Same thing on this other end. So now we're going to take these, and these are going to be your little end caps. So again, we're just going to take just a slight amount of glue here, run it down on each of these. Just like that. Take your little end cap. Make sure we're lined up here. There we are. Upper tray is all put together. So now you're going to have where all the food and everything goes in the top. And then these underliners down here will make sense here in just a minute. Also, they are kind of just a nice little support. I mean, that's going to be enough if you're throwing scrap food. We throw scraps from the garden and stuff in for our chickens. So now we're going to set that aside. Now you're going to want to change out your nail size here. So we're going to go to our larger 1 1/4 nails, because now we're going to work on the main part of the base. So for that, you're going to take your 4 legs. Now I like to pre-mark mine. I like mine, the actual step. You can, depending on how tall you want it to be. I like mine to be about 3 inches off the ground. That seems to work for our chickens. Again, gauge it off of what you need or whatever your customer needs. Some customers of mine actually had little tiny chickens, so I actually only put them like 1 inch off the ground. So just make adjustments. Make it the best, work the best you can. So now you're going to take the 2 larger, which are 1 by 2s, a little bit thicker boards. These are going to be the ones that are going to be holding kind of the support of everything where the chickens are standing. So what I like to do with these is line these up out here with my little pencil mark here, so I know that they're 3 inches at the top. Make sure we're nice and square. And then what I also like to do is I will take one of my 1 by 2s and I will use that to figure out how far back I actually want to slide the little feet. So now this board will be touching with this. Same thing on this side. We're going to put this one here, slide this back. So now that we have the measurement we want, same as before, let's put a little glue on here. We're going to roll that down. Make sure we're staying nice and level. Put a little pressure on it. Now with these, just because I want to make sure they are going to hold together really well, because all the chicken's weight is going to be on these, I will actually nail these ones from both sides. Okay, so now we have both of our stands all done. These have the support boards on them. So now we're just going to kind of lay these out here. So now we're going to take another one of those 1 by 2s that we pre-measured here. And this is how we're actually going to make sure that this thing stays nice and square. So what we're going to do is the same thing as before, put a little dab of glue just out here on the very end of this. And we're going to do the same thing on this other one, since we know we're going to be putting this end together. So we'll go ahead and get some glue here as well. So again, since we measured with this, we know it's going to sit right up flush against with our little step there. And we're going to stand up our other side. Make sure we're nice and square. Now we're going to spin this around. There we are. So now we have the whole base put together with all of our legs. So now we take our upper table, and now the upper table should fit almost exactly. And let me show you here. So now if you look on the underside here, everything should line up just like that. So now the Chicknic table will sit right on the top. So same thing as before, we're going to add a little bit of glue. We're just going to stand this up here. I'm going to add a little glue underneath where it's going to come down on each of these. Just like that. There we are, Chicknic table all finished up. Nice, quick, cheap project made out of scrap wood. Now I sell these for $30 like this, and then if you want to add engravings like with the CNC or the laser, I charge an extra $5 to add that. So if you don't have it, you can sell them like this. If you have those things, you know, just something to kind of think about. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video of an average working guy scrap wood project. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up, feel free to share. If you have any questions or comments, please put those down below. We'll do what I can to answer them for you. I will put the cut list for this exact dimensions in there, so if you want to cut this one and build the exact same thing, it'll be down in the description. Well again, thanks for watching guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you really want to join me for all my other projects and all my other adventures, consider hitting that subscribe button. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you around.